Well, as you can see, it's a sea of red and white here at the Parramatta Football Stadium tonight. And there's coach Ron Hilditch leading his players to the bench over there. Andy Gregory, one of the danger men tonight in this Illawarra lineup.
Well, he certainly is, Bill, and he's a big match player. We mentioned he's got 4 Cup winners' medals at Wembley. An interesting little omen. He's wearing the red and white. It was successful a few weeks ago at Wembley. And, of course, his teammate Steve Hampson, 2 key players. And what a moment for Wally Lewis. He'll have great memories of leading them on to Leichhardt Oval in 1984 when the combined Brisbane side took out the title.
Well, David, they suggest that there was something like 50 buses came out of Wollongong up here tonight, and I can believe that. Apparently there's not a bus left down there. If they wanted to get home from the steelworks tonight, it'll be a walk job or on your push bike. And also they brought a train up. The Broncos brought down a big plane load of supporters, and there's Wayne Bennett all keyed up for what is the Broncos' biggest night so far.
Broncos look fairly confident walking out there to a loud boo from all the crowd. They're in unfriendly territory, undoubtedly. They're getting pretty used to it, and you can bet your life they're out to put their best foot forward. What a king, says the sign. Wally Lewis ultimately recognises the king down here, but they're here to boo him in general. And there's the referee for tonight's game, Graham Annesley. Probably a bit of a surprise selection, really. Annesley not recognised as the #1 referee.
He, in fact, controlled the semi-final against Parramatta, which was won so convincingly by the Broncos. But now let's stand by for the national anthem prior to the kick-off of the 1989 Panasonic Cup final.
Right, there's Illawarra putting a couple of high balls back there to Steve Hampson. And there's that huge crowd. So many supporters here for Illawarra. It's basically, David, a mini state of origin. It's us and them here tonight.
Well, that's the feeling, Bill. It certainly has been that that feeling has come through. But great moments here in '89.
Our beauty rich and rare in history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair in joyful strain, then let us sing advance Australia fair.
Well, Billy, 69 Test matches and 77 Origin games. That's the experience of this Broncos side. They would have heard the national anthem play many, many times. But I just wonder how many outside of the 2 Test players from Great Britain in this Illawarra side would have had that atmosphere.
It certainly has set the atmosphere. And down on the sideline, Tony Durkin.
And with me, a player who's got a great connection with the Illawarra club. In fact, he led the Steelers on to their very first game back in 1982. Michael Bolden. Michael, it must be a great occasion for you tonight.
Certainly is, Tony. We've come a long way in the 8 years, and I think it's probably a culmination of all our efforts over those years.
I suppose for your sake, they're a little sad that you're on the bench tonight.
Oh, yes, everyone likes to start, but hopefully when I get out there, I'll make a good contribution to the game.
Has Ronnie indicated that you will definitely get on tonight?
I'd hope so.
And how's the feeling in the Steelers, mate? You've got so many people here tonight supporting you.
I think the Broncos are going to find out what Lang Park's like in reverse.
Good on you, mate, and all the best, and thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
Michael Bolt down there with Michael Bolt, and as he said, he led out the 3rd grade back in 1982, the first player to go onto a field wearing the Illawarra Steelers jersey.
Very proud moment for Illawarra. Their first final. They've been in the Sydney competition for 8 years. First opportunity to put a trophy on the sideboard. Interesting, the Broncos all got together and closed ranks waiting for the kickoff.
There's Andy Gregory starting it on its way now, and it's underway, all right. The final of the Panasonic Cup for 1989 as Peter Jackson brings it up at 20 metres out from the Broncos line. Tony, we spoke briefly about the footballing surface a little earlier in the opener there, but tell me what it's like down around where it's all happening.
Well, Bill, we don't have to talk, of course, again about that atrocious conditions at Cogger on Sunday, but compared to those conditions, this is a carpet out here tonight. The conditions are absolutely great underfoot in when you consider the amount of rain they've had, and in fact, they've only had 1 match here in the past 3 weeks, so Parramatta Stadium as good as it possibly could be in tonight.
First penalty of the match coming up, and it goes to the Broncos, and the Steelers just a little bit too eager.
Yeah, very keen to get up there. Wally Lewis was going to kick the ball downfield. They were very keen. They were pointing at Lewis. They were indicating they were going to charge at him. And just jumped the gun a little bit. Graham Annesley standing back to 5 metres. A penalty, a relieving one for the Broncos. They didn't really dominate that passage of play there, endeavouring to run the ball out. It was Illawarra who was most dominant in defence, and they're certainly keyed up for tonight's game.
Peter Jackson finding touch, 9 metres inside Illawarra territory. Sam Bacco takes it up and is going to be held up in the tackle. Coming about over there from Chris Walsh, the captain of the side, and also coming in over the top is Michael Carberry. Another penalty.
Well, this will be an opportunity for 2 points. Holding down in the tackle. Holding down by Michael Carberry. There it is on the replay. Carberry over the top. Walsh was initially in the tackle as well. Carberry taking a long time to get up. And this is a surprise to me. Well inside Terry Madison's range. 2 points on offer. Wally Lewis is elected to find touch and keep the pressure on.
All righty, that's where the tap will be taken, and it's only about 10 metres out now from the Steelers' line. Walters comes up to dummy half to Hancock. Hancock straight ahead. Going to be wrapped up by the Illawarra defence. Walters looks across to the blind side. Will he work it there? He turns it back the other way. And eventually Brett LeMan is going to be forced to crossfield and maybe lost about a half a metre or so in the process.
Here's the set piece, Dowling Lewis.
Dowling turns it to Walters. Walters out wide. Right over the top. It's taken by Curry. Curry gets it away and Kilroy into the corner. Try number 1 for the Broncos. A rip-roaring start for them.
Well, in anticipation of Lewis getting the ball, I think Illawarra anticipated the same thing. They concentrated their defensive efforts. Lewis lurking in the back there. Walters went around, fired it out to Gene Miles, a variation of the move they put on last week against South Sydney. Tony Curry, look at him hold up the ball. Jason Moon should have done a better effort than that. He was committed to nobody. From the head on, this will look good. Lewis on the inside. Walters, a beautiful ball out to Gene Miles. He can stand simply in the tackle. Curry accelerates, commits Moon just enough. Joe Kilroy a clear run to the line. Broncos a perfect start.
And not the start Illawarra wanted. Joey Kilroy coming up with a try, a set piece. And, Bill, you can't beat class. That was just a wonderful effort by the Broncos in the early stage of this cup final.
Well, the thing I like, as I said a bit earlier in the intro talking about this Broncos side, I thought the trouble was going to come out wide, and Tony Curry, the more I see of this fella, the more I like him. He just held it up just that little bit and then jinked it away, and away they went. So Wally Lewis has to be in a huddle while he's down there. Here's Tony.
And Andy Gregory, the Great Britain halfback and the Illawarra halfback, called over by Graham Annesley after that try was scored, and they weren't talking about the weather, I can assure you of that. I'd say Andy Gregory probably has had a few things to say to the referee. The referee has shown him straight away who's the boss.
So now it's Terry Madison moving in for the shot at goal. Let's have a look at it. It's on its way. The flags are waving it away. So the Broncos have an early lead of 4 points to them. As you said, David, this is certainly something that Illawarra didn't want. They wanted to get an early lead and try and make the Broncos work from there.
Absolutely, Bill, but Brisbane also want to keep their minds on the job. They won't want to think for a moment it's going to be an easy game. Illawarra will really hang in there, and it's up to Brisbane to keep their minds on the job for the whole match.
Gregory restarts it. Back it goes to Shane Duffy. He runs up into the field of play, straight up the centre. Just a bit of swerving and crashed into the ground over there. A very heavy tackle coming around by Skipper Lighty. From the play the ball, back it goes then to Dowling. Dowling taking it up over the quarter line. If you're wondering what that smoke is, it's what it is, a smoke haze from the fireworks. Just hasn't been able to get away from Parramatta Stadium at the moment. That's Big Sam Bacco doing the job that he's been set out to do in the early part of the match. Langer outside to Jackson. Jackson trying to go straight ahead. Skipper Lighty came in over the top, and in underneath this time, and the tackle is Hansen. They'll play it. Walters swings it away to Lewis. The boot coming in. It's a crossfield kick this time, and it'll come back towards Moon, and Moon will take it. And Illawarra with a bit of a chance to do something. There's haven't had much ball so far.
As Jason Moon switched wings, he's now out here on the right wing. Was it the case?
Second time that's happened, David. You'll see him going back out of the left wing now. He's done it twice in the opening 3 or 4 minutes of the match with Wishart.
All righty, that was Walsh taking it up. Did all right until Sam Bacco appeared on the scene and jolted him into stopping. This is Gregory, the man they've got to watch. 10 metres inside Broncos territory. From the play the ball now, away from dummy half. They swing it away then to Hansen, and eventually going to ground with it. So at this stage, 15 metres on the final tackle. This is Andy Gregory. Feeds it away then. Coming across is Wishart. And Wishart is going to be held up with a changeover coming up just inside the Broncos quarter.
Danger of Andy Gregory there as he ran the ball on that 6th tackle. Created a half opportunity for Wishart.
Langer now a dummy half. No play on, says the referee. We thought the referee was going to pull Illawarra up inside that 5. The Broncos lead by 4-0. Dowling, one of the 5 survivors from 1984 when combined Brisbane took out the National Panasonic Cup final. Terry Madison recovered from the broken nose against St George just last Sunday. Walters, Langer on the blind side, Jackson. In fact, it's Gene Miles wrapped up. Look at Gregory coming for the second chop. And Gene Miles, I think, caught the number. There's the kick downfield. Taken by Hansen. Wigan fullback has always impressed me every time I've seen him play. He's very much in the Gary Jack mold, David.
Good break, and he's still going.
Finally, it's Miles and Langer that wrap him up on halfway, so that's a good run by the Illawarra fullback. Russell. Taken up by Walsh. 10 metres inside Brisbane's end of the ground. Reverse of play with Gregory. Gregory through the dummy. It wasn't taken by Madison. Gregory appeared to move off the mark, but he's been called back to play the ball. Long pass going across field. That's a good break by Morrissey. And he's taken in the tackle, final tackle for the Steelers as they storm back in the cup final. Here's a danger man, Rodwell. Got the pass back in field, they keep it alive. Russell, and good defence by the Broncos. That's the turnover.
Second time we've seen Illawarra run the ball on the sixth tackle. They're very keen to attack the ball and throw it around as much as possible. Actually, their start has been quite sound, even though they've surrendered a try in the early minutes.
Well, they've shown in other matches they're quite capable of coming from behind in this four-quarter football. Cut out pass, it goes to Duffy. Duffy links up at the line, got the pass away to Curry. Curry looks for support, but it wasn't there.
Just needed someone close to him. Michael Hancock just a bit too far away.
Notice the number of times Langer has gone into dummy half tonight as well, David. Now Walters out to Jackson. Stood up in the tackle and driven back. Good defence by Illawarra. They're trying to keep the Broncos camped down on their end of the ground. Langer. Well, gee, he was nearly through that half gap, but coming at him was Morrissey. Now it goes back for Lewis. Evasive skills of Wally Lewis. Driven downfield. It's back with Hampson. Taken by Langer. Good chasing game by the Broncos. Now Wishart, very strong player.
Well, he's got Alan Langer for not standing square on, though. It's debatable. Alan Langer very quick out of the marker position. He was very keen to make that second tackle. He'd done a very good one initially, and then chased Wishart, who tried to run out of the dummy half position. Langer penalised for not standing square on, a relieving penalty for the Steelers.
Well, it only took the Broncos 2 minutes to stamp their mark on this cup final. A brilliant try by Kilroy. Earlier today, St Gregory's College defeated Holy Cross Ride in the final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup, and what an exciting game that was, David. And a lesson to be learned. Learn the rules of this four-quarter football.
Yes, 12-10, St Gregory's won it, and Holy Cross Ride had a chance to kick a penalty with only a minute to go. They didn't know the final penalty count. Had they gone for a goal, they could have won the game on a penalty count back. But in this day and age of electronic scoreboards, I cannot understand in this competition why we haven't got up on the scoreboard what the penalty count is. There's been 2 matches decided in the cup football this year in Panasonic based on a penalty countback, and really the players should have the luxury of at least seeing what the penalties are.
Final tackle now for the Steelers. Morrissey got the pass away to Gregory. There's the kick behind the defence. Back goes Kilroy, but very cool is Joe Kilroy.
Joe hesitated for a moment, thinking those chases were offside. He could well have been right. Referee Graham Annesley didn't think so.
So the Broncos camp 10 metres out from their own goal line, and what an atmosphere here at the Parramatta Stadium. It really is cup final night. The Broncos still camped inside their own quarter. The determination in this Illawarra side is very, very evident, despite that early setback. It wasn't the start they needed. They currently trail by 4-0. But since then, they have recovered very well. They've kept their composure. Their defence has been first class. And they've really put the Broncos under pressure inside their own quarter. There's the kick downfield. That's a magnificent kick. It beats Wishart into touch and turns the Illawarra side right around back towards their own quarter.
For the first time tonight, we've seen a good ruck prior to the kick downfield. It was Greg Dowling who put a good ruck in, got the Broncos going forward. That ensured Wally Lewis had plenty of time to get the kick away. That's the end result.
Territorially, it's been Illawarra so far.
Yes, they have.
Andy Gregory to feed the scrum. Referee Annesley talking to both front rows. Down they go. In by Gregory. Won by the Steelers. Have they? No, they haven't. It's going to come out to Lewis. Lewis stepping his way through. Wrapped up. Gets it away to Langer. Here's a bit of trouble. Langer outside to Curry. Curry to Duffy into the back line. Duffy gets it to Jackson. Shut the gate. It's try number 2.
Terry Madison off the back of the scrum. It looked like the Steelers had the ball come out their way. Madison very alert, got out quickly. Then Lewis, what a brilliant effort by Wally Lewis to stand in the tackle and give Alan Langer the opportunity. Then it was quick hands. Here it is, Lewis. Now look at this. Most other players would have been put to the ground. Lewis defied it. He popped the ball up on the way down. And then look at this. Each player drawing one, go one pace, draw the next one. Moon had to come in on Duffy. He just brushed through a fairly simple effort, really. Out to Peter Jackson. Broncos in for their second try. The writing on the wall for the Steelers. There's Lewis. Stands in that tackle. Smith couldn't handle handle him, pops the ball up on the way down. Each player then draws the next to ensure the overlap is affected. Curry out to Duffy. He really didn't have to break that tackle initially, took some sort of a chance there, but brushed through it. Quite simply, Peter Jackson in for a try.
Well, I'll tell you one player that's got to get credit for that, because that was an Illawarra scrum feed, but the fact that Duffy was able to get up there and make the extra man and create the overlap on the opposition feed is a sign that he's playing with great confidence at the moment, Bill, to be ready to come up should the scrum go against the feed.
Yeah, well, it was coming out the other side of the scrum, which is away from us, but Tony Durkin down on the touchline. You were able to get a good early look at it, mate?
The ball was almost in the Illawarra second row, I would say, and a fabulous push again by the Broncos, and we really can't say enough about the work they've been doing on that scrum machine that they bought at the start of this season, and I can tell you the crowd is very, very quiet at the moment. 53 coaches and minibuses and a supporters train left Illawarra today for the match, but there wasn't too much cheering at that stage.
No, well, there wouldn't be too much cheering either when they look at the fact they've missed 6 tackles in 10 minutes. So here's Terry Madison trying to bring up the double points. Broncos leading by 8-0. It's on its way. It's nice and high. Direction's good, and 10 points on the board.
The Broncos dominating the match. They're such a skillful side in attack. It doesn't matter how determined the defence is. They must have a very effective defensive pattern. There's Terry Madison. This is a real bonus for the Broncos. Madison hit that ball perfectly. Knocked it over, obviously enjoying the conditions tonight, the Broncos. After the quagmire they had at Cograhavel, they're showing how to play football on a firm surface.
So from the kick-off, it'll carry back there towards Hancock, coming across from the wing.
3 kick-offs by Illawarra already in the match, including the one to start the game. And on each occasion, they've kicked to the back line. They haven't kicked to the Broncos forwards. So Ron Hilditch there just trying to disrupt the Broncos a little bit. Broncos not getting the ball where they want it, but still they're managing to work their way out of their own half, and then really capitalise with some outstanding attack.
Here's the reverse. Langer wasn't expecting it. Picked up there by Madison. He unloads it to Lewis, who goes back the other way, but eventually going to be wrapped up over there, about 30 metres out from his own line. The Broncos lead is 10 points to 0. Back onto Sam Bacco. Bacco straight ahead, and a good crashing run from the big front rower. Eventually pulled down 10 metres short of the halfway mark. From the play, the ball. Walters back to Lewis. Lewis kicking for that touchline again, but he won't find it this time. Hampson lets it come off his left knee. Runs across field. There's plenty of Broncos players up there to put him down. He'll play it now. Away from dummy half, trying to find a way through is Rodwell. Plays it forward, Rodwell. Bacco comes at him and puts him down. He's 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Skipperlighty away from dummy half. They keep it going with Hanson. Hanson with his pass outside. We're going to be wrapped up over there as Hardy. And a penalty coming up now, not letting him play the ball.
Well, the Broncos will want to be careful because their game is very tight. Here it is on replay, Dowling on the bottom of the ruck. There he is, lays his hands back, but the referee believing that he didn't clear the ruck. And the Broncos will want to be careful. The only way at this stage you could see Illawarra really putting pressure on Brisbane is if they give away penalties. At this stage the penalties are 2-all. Brisbane are a side that really plays a very disciplined and controlled brand of football.
So the tap is taken, and it's Chris Walsh bringing it up. He's about 20 metres inside Broncos territory. Across over there to Carberry, upended and driven back a couple of metres in the tackle. From the play, the ball now. 6 minutes remaining in this, the first quarter, and the Broncos lead is 10 points to 0. Smith to Gregory, doubling around. He got out of one tackle, doesn't get away from Walters, pulled to the ground. He'll get up to play it. Dummy half over there this time will be Russell. Russell trying to find a way through for the Broncos defence, right up to the task. Away from dummy half, Skipperlighty, then away to Gregory. Gregory gets it back to Hanson. They keep it going. This is Rodwell. Back inside to Hardy. He's going to come back inside, knocked down by the Broncos, and a penalty coming up for holding the player back.
Yeah, holding back. It was Hardy who was trying to receive it there. Hardy throwing the pass out to Rodwell. Rodwell tries to get it back to Hardy, and he was just held. Well, it's debatable. Gene Miles is the player who's been penalised. But Illawarra now with a very good chance to put some genuine pressure on.
Well, Andy Gregory and Chris Walsh had a little conference there. They decided to put the pressure on. They'll be looking for points now to come back into the cup final. They'll also be looking towards the end of the first quarter where they can regroup. Illawarra on the attack.
Gregory gets Gregory.
There's a chance, Skipperlighty, but he's held up the Broncos defence working overtime. And they move it to the left. Gregory wasn't expecting it. He threw the dummy, Andy Gregory. He's 2 metres short. Skipperlighty, long pass. Russell put the ball on the foot, but it was Finally, he's come up with it. It's an Illawarra ball with 6 more to go. The pressure is on.
How
A
could it
chance
be
now
6
for the
to go,
Steelers.
really? It was only a rebound, wasn't played out by Brisbane.
Here's Morrissey close to the line. It's Illawarra storming back in the cup final. Blindside move, Walsh. Can he get it down? The referee, Annesley, says no.
Brilliant work from Brisbane. Peter Jackson was one of the players. Illawarra there with a chance to at least put 10 tackles together. It was the experienced player in Chris Walsh, charges at the line. Kerrod Walters turns him over, along with Peter Jackson. Annesley on the spot to ensure the correct decision was made.
But tremendous pressure by the Steelers. They're not out of this cup final, despite the fact they're trailing by 10 points to 0. Still a lot of football left in the decider for 89. Langer from the base of the scrum. They're throwing it across the line. But good defence by Illawarra, moving up in numbers. Russell was very quick to get out of the back of that scrum. Now Kilroy looking for work. He scored a sensational try to open the scoring here tonight, with the final just 2.5 minutes old. Miles, about 5 metres short of the quarter line. Blindside again, they go with Leman and then to Jackson. Jackson got out of one. Rodwell came at him again, but Jackson made another 4 or 5 valuable metres before he was wrestled to the ground. Now they move it again with Langer. The little kick through, Langer regathered it. Final tackle. It will go from Walters to Lewis, and Lewis will turn this Illawarra defence around again. Back goes Wishart, the former country player. Langer with an unusual tackle, but very effective.
Kamikaze, throw yourself at him and hope for the best.
Now Hampson. This time he can't break the first line. Well, the Brisbane players are well up inside the 5. The crowd let the referee know that he really shouldn't have had to be told by the crowd. The Broncos were well up inside the 5. And the penalty goes to Illawarra.
2 minutes before quarter time, a very important 2 minutes for Brisbane. They've done extremely well to have a lead at the moment by 10 points to 0. Penalties now favour Illawarra by 4 to 2.
Well, it's also a very important 2 minutes for Illawarra. And this man knows it all too well, the captain, Chris Walsh, and that's a determined run by the big Illawarra prop forward. Who's the runner this time? It goes away. Carberry got the pass away. Oh, Russell put it down.
Nice. Langer's got it underneath.
So Langer will play the ball 32 metres out from the Broncos line. It's Dowling. He settles it in the centre of the ground. Plenty of excitement in the opening 20 minutes of this cup final. Here's another move. Curry with room to move on the outside, but he couldn't get through the tackle. Very good defence by young Rodwell. I thought he'd have his hands full out there tonight, but that was a marvellous tackle. Now Hancock. Can he link up with his supports? He ran to Russell, also to Skiffolati, and Rodwell was in there as well. But now the Broncos line deep to the right. It goes through the hands of Langer. The cutout pass, Jackson. Jackson, beautiful pass for Duffy. Duffy racing for the line, and good defence by Hampson. Fullback on tackle number 5. Now Kilroy. Through some feeble defence, but Illawarra hang on. Great stuff on the turnover. They were tested. They've come up trumps Illawarra.
Well, Wally Lewis wouldn't be happy with Joe Kilroy's attempt there to make the try line. He was tackled around about 8 metres out, and the Broncos had a full back line on the 6th tackle.
Well, Tony, there was quite a bit of press down here today on the pen pictures of the players. Everyone suggested how slow and cumbersome Shane Duffy was, and his unwillingness to come into the line. We've seen it already tonight on 3 occasions, something we haven't seen very much in 89.
Yes, he's not known as a running fullback, Shane Duffy, but he's certainly shown that to be untrue tonight. He's played very well indeed.
Well, the pass goes astray on the far side. The hooter has gone for the end of the first 20 minutes. And the Broncos hold the lead at quarter time in the 1989 Panasonic Cup final. 2 tries in the first 20 minutes to Joe Kilroy and Peter Jackson. Madison missed the first conversion, that of Kilroy's try. A great kick to convert Jackson's try. And so the Broncos hold a great lead of 10 points to 0. We'll be back for the second quarter in just a moment.
David Wright, just having a look at that scoreline there of 10 points to 0, the Broncos leading. When you have a look back, that Illawarra have only conceded 12 points in their 3 cup matches to date to get here.
Yes, Bill, and the signs do not look good. Their first 2 games, in actual fact, they made sure neither of their opponents, West in the first one and then Cronulla, they were kept without any points on the board. The Broncos showing that out wide Illawarra are vulnerable. We've seen plenty of times tonight where the gaps have been out wide. Illawarra very keen to stack the middle of the ruck. and Brisbane just as keen to move the ball.
So that's Peter Jackson bringing it up 10 metres out from the Broncos line. They lead by 10 points to 0 coming into the start of the second quarter, and Bacco doing exactly what Wayne Bennett would want him to do.
Yes, he does the hard work. He gets them going forward early. They've got plenty of players with flair out there that can capitalise on that. And when you get two front rowers operating in tandem like we saw there, Bacco and then Dowling, they've made good ground on each ruck. Then it gives opportunities to move the ball to the flanks.
And that's when you get someone like Gene Miles coming through and doing it solidly. Right, Tony Durkin's down on the touchline again.
And with another disappointed man, this time Chris Johns and Johnsy, a great start by the Broncos.
Mate, yeah, it's very controlled, mate. You can see, like, you wouldn't be able to pick a man of the match. Everyone's doing their job, and we're well on top of the moment.
Obviously, you're very disappointed you can't be out there.
Yeah, mate, I'm disappointed, but if it was going to jeopardise, like, my position in the State of Origin side, I just didn't want to chance it, you know.
How is that hamstring?
It's coming along, you know, it just needs rest. I couldn't have, like, if I would have pulled up sore tonight, I would have been out of that side.
So we'll see you down here again next Wednesday night and in enemy territory once again.
Not enemy for me now.
All the best.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so here's Andy Gregory with it now, working across field, still going. Oh, he got it outside to Hardy, who bumped away one tackle.
Wally Lewis it was, sat him on his backside.
Doesn't happen very often, but it happened on that occasion. The crowd, they really loved it.
Here it is again. There's Lewis being bounced back. Lewis tried to come the big charge, and Hardy it was, he bumped him away.
Following that, Andy Gregory kicked through. Lewis went for it, and a penalty coming out of that with Illawarra just up ahead of the kicker there.
Looking at the first half statistics, errors in the first half, Illawarra 10, or the first quarter I should say, the Broncos 3. So Illawarra making the mistakes and the Broncos capitalising.
Peter Jackson to kick the touch. Jackson finds it. That's not a bad kick there by Peter Jackson, midway between the quarter and halfway, down inside Illawarra territory. Walters takes it out, it goes to Bacco. First one up again. They're trying to lift Big Sam up, and they eventually turn him around and put him down. Dummy half is Walters. Walters will work it back inside. Coming up there on that occasion was Brett LeMan. Walters again, outside to Madison. Madison takes the tackle. Coming around to get him there was Les Morrissey. Dummy half Walters swings around, he plays the blind side, he looks for Duffy coming through, but he's well wrapped up on this occasion. Hardy coming in there to get him, but also combining in the tackle is Morrissey again. Played forward by Duffy, straight ahead. Referee gives a penalty.
Penalty to the Broncos. The marker not standing up. It was Hardy who was not in a position to mark up. Duffy, who'd done very well to work his way to that position. There he is, gets up quickly. Hardy, who was back a bit too far to really be a marker. Of course, it must be remembered there's only one marker allowed in Panasonic Cup football. Hardy was trying to drop back, then realised the other man wasn't up.
Tony, that was in front of you. Any comment?
No, not really, Billy. I think it was the right decision made by the referee, but it wasn't very popular with the crowd. In fact, they've been singing out that familiar Lang Park chant.
I'll sing it out a bit more too, because here's Big Sam Bacco over for try number 3. Crosses in.
Reminiscent of State of Origin 1988. Big Sam gets a cuddle, not the Knox's fly, a cuddle, but they're pretty happy about this one. Sam just brute strength. Look at this, brushing out of tackles, refused to stop, had the perfect body position, always getting the bulk ahead of his feet. He was going to take a lot of driving back. Look at this, lead forward all the time, ensure that it's going to be impossible to push it backwards, and then that last lunge for the try line. Great work from the big fella. Here it is from head on, straight through Skippy Leedy. Andy Gregory didn't want to know about it, neither did Hampson. Sam Bacco says, I'll take 4 points.
Well, he's a big match player, Sam Bacco. He's had a disappointing start to the season with his new club, but Billy, reflecting on 88, in the State of Origin and Test matches, it was nearly a try a game Sam last year, and he's back for the big one again tonight with a try.
Well, that was vintage Bacco, that's for sure. The Wayne Bennett.
A slight grin on Wayne Bennett's face.
I wish that bloke had shift his head so we could see properly.
Grant Ricks there just in the raid, and James Donnelly also alongside Grant Ricks. Donnelly presumably will get a run later on, but Sam Bacco, while he's doing that sort of damage, he's going to stay there for some time.
So it's Madison, a 50% record so far. Should be able to make it 2 out of 3. Comes in for the shot and goal, no doubt about it. The Broncos open up a good lead of 16 points to 0. While we're talking about Sambo, what have we got to say down there, Tony?
Well, I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag, Bill, but I can assure you and our viewers that Sam Bacco is regarded as the #1 prop in Australia by the Australian coach, Bobby Fulton. And if he keeps up this form, he is a certainty for the trip to New Zealand.
Well, have you told him?
I don't think Bob has yet either.
Tell you what, if I did, I'd be very happy to tell him. It wouldn't be over the phone. Here he is again.
Had a chance to score one from 100 metres out there, Sam, but the defence up.
Oh, fair go. Here's Dowling again. Gee, it's familiar, isn't it? But Dowling driven back on that occasion. Good tackle coming in from Hardy and also Les Morrissey. He's done some work in the early part as Morrissey. But some of the others just haven't done enough to hold out this blitz coming in here from the Broncos. Brett LeMan walking around. He's going to penalise him.
I can't see who was actually obstructed there. He's got him for an obstruction for running behind one of his own players. Brett LeMan, who is an elusive runner with the ball, he's not one that runs straight. Let's see if any defender was actually obstructed. Goes behind Kieran Walters there. Probably a fair decision. I think possibly the man behind may really have been outpaced anyway. Chance now for Illawarra.
So they're going to attack from inside the quarter line. And first of all, we must get the football. And that's what Skipperlini does. Looking for an eager runner in Chris Walsh, and he bumps it straight upfield. So Walsh, Dowling and Bacco have been very impressive at carting the ball up tonight, making good yards to their sides. Now Skipperlini, options on either side. He switches to blind, and it's taken by Hansen. A dummy half is Morrissey. Illawarra lined out deep to the left. Gregory nowhere to go. G. Madison got up quickly. He's forced him back 5 or 6 metres, but the tenacious little Wigan halfback comes storming back. Now the move. But a penalty, the Broncos right up offside. Will we see the quick tap?
The order of the day, they must now put a converted try on. Broncos back quickly. The gaps out wide if they want to move it. Joe Kilroy's come in. Peter Jackson it is who's being lectured by Graham Annesley, being told that if he intentionally gets offside, he'll be put in the sin bin.
Well, I don't think that caution helped Illawarra. They're on the roll looking for the quick tap, but Annesley cautioned Jackson. Now Russell tries to make amends. So the Broncos forced to defend on their own goal line. If they move it right, Gregory again, looking for the runners. Rodwell, pass gone astray. Who's going to dive on it? It's Morrissey that gets back. 6 more to go. They move again through Rodwell. Good defence by the Broncos. Curry was in there, also LeMan. Skipperlini runs from dummy half, unloaded it to Smith. Then in turn for the captain Walsh, and he's 9 metres short of the try line. Still moving to the left. It's Skipperlini. Held up in the tackle, couldn't unload it through the back door. Hansen, Gregory, through the dummy. Hansen, it's back for Smith, it's still kept alive. Skipperlini. But look at the swarming Brisbane defence.
Great defence, Brisbane. 6 tackle upcoming.
Final tackle for the Steelers. The crowd on their toes. Gregory punched away by Kilroy. Goal line drop out to restart play, but good pressure by Illawarra.
A kick by Andy Gregory. He did have overlaps out wide already. Joey Kilroy taking no chances. Realised he was under pressure there. Knocked the ball clear. And once again, Brisbane now are going to have to withstand more pressure.
Well, waiting for the goal line drop out.
Broncos in no hurry. They want a breather.
16 points to 0. 3 tries to 0 to the Broncos. And we're fast approaching the halfway mark of the second quarter. So a vital stage for Illawarra if they're going to come back into this cup final. Now Gregory got the pass away. Carberry held up. The Broncos have been forced to work overtime in defence in the last couple of minutes, but it stood up. Now they move it again. Smith delayed the pass, gave it to Rodwell. He tried to go on the outside of his man, but he couldn't get around Terry Madison or Gene Miles on that occasion. Now Skipperlini, oh, what a good hit. Brett LeMan sized him up and drove him backwards. Hansen for Gregory. He's scheming, got the pass away for Russell. Over the top came Sam Bacco. Final tackle for the Steelers. They move it left. Gregory's been in everything. The little kick through. Good kick. Kilroy. Try. Yes, a try. Rodwell comes up for Illawarra. They're back in the cup final. The Illawarra fans are ecstatic.
Well, they had enough chances, Illawarra. They've had to put together about 20 tackles. Finally, Gregory tried a bit of variation this time. He put the high ball up before. Beautifully placed little grubber kick. Joe Kilroy couldn't handle it. Under the pressure of Jason Moon, the ball popped straight up to Rodwell, and he was on the spot to put the ball down. Illawarra desperate for points. They've got back into the game now with this particular try. They were there charging onto the ball. Illawarra had plenty of chances to put pressure on. They finally come up with points.
We'll have a look at it again. You can't see a great deal there, but there's Kilroy. Get a good shot of that. Hustled as he was trying to take it straight up to the hands of Rodwell. Trying to make those few extra metres, but eventually put down.
Well, this young fellow, Brett Rodwell, scored some great tries against Cronulla in that cup quarter-final. And the Illawarra fans are absolutely ecstatic. The trip up, the 50-mile trip north to Sydney, has been worth it just for that. But will it start the resurgence of Illawarra in their quest for honours at 89? This is a vital kick for Illawarra and for Rod Wishart. A great striker of the ball, a local from Gerringong. There's the kick, he's got the height. He's kicked it. 16 points to 6. A great conversion from Rod Wishart.
Just the confidence booster that Illawarra are after. At 16-0 down, they were well and truly out of it. The crowd now sure to get right behind their side. The pressure is on. That's a good kick from Wishart. Under pressure. He had the whole grandstand on the far side of the field cheering him on. Now Brisbane are going to have to get their minds back on the job.
Tony Durkin a change in the Illawarra Steelers lineup.
Yes, and Cavill Hugh is coming on in the Illawarra lineup, and he's coming on for Michael Carberry, and believe me, Michael Carberry is not a very happy man.
No, I don't think he was. Just shook his head, came off the field, is walking up to where the other players are, but not very happy.
Tactical change there by the coach in Ron Hilditch. He's looking for an attacking player, and he's got exactly that in Cavill Hugh, the ex-Eastern Suburbs player, and Carberry came up with 10 tackles in the 30 minutes he was on there.
So Skipper Lightning gets it across, coming through once again as Morrissey. Morrissey to about 25 metres out from the Illawarra line. Broncos lead of 16 to 6, and 9 minutes to go in this, the second quarter. That's Cavill Hugh, the replacement player. Skivalaiti, the crowd suddenly coming alive. They must be giving you plenty down there, Tony.
They certainly are. You're right with that try. It really did bring them alive.
Here's Joey Kilroy going to give them something to watch out about. He's heading for the corner. He's only got Hampson to beat. Bumps into Hampson, stays in the field of play, which I think was the main thing at that stage. He'll get up to play it. Walters was late on the scene, dived on it to retain possession. So now it's Langer. Up as dummy half. Sends a long one. That was a little bit risky. Brett LeMan bowled over. They're either very quick or very, very far up.
Very offside.
That's Gene Miles trying to work his way through to Alan Langer, working around, pushed away Hughes' tackle, but he's bombarded down there and eventually put to the ground with the tackle of Hanson. Some of those outside backs really creeping up. This is Lewis. Now he works it away to Kilroy. Kilroy put to the ground with the tackle over there.
And so is Wally Lewis after you offloaded the ball.
So here's a kick going up high by Walters. Hanson coming up to fly through the air. He takes it. Good take there by Hanson, the fullback.
Brilliant stuff, and that's just the sort of inspirational stuff from the back that Illawarra are looking for. There he is, high above the pack, took the ball. Illawarra in possession.
So from the play the ball, this is Andy Gregory. He gets it outside. They're trying to work their way through, but eventually going to ground with it will be Smith. Crowd really coming alive here at the Parramatta Stadium now as Andy Gregory props, cuts up the centre, but back goes there with a tackle, back inside to Hugh. Hugh loses it, picked up by Alan Langer. He gets it back to Duffy, taken pretty high by Russell, but eventually put to the ground about a metre inside the Illawarra half. Back to Langer, then away this time to Miles. Miles trying to bullock his way through. Miles is going to be put to the ground a couple of metres inside Illawarra territory. Langer getting it away to Hancock coming across from the wing. Hancock bowled over about 9 metres inside Illawarra territory. Walters, Dowling straight ahead, smashing his way up there as Morrissey comes in underneath. Over the top went Cavill Hugh. Walters away from dummy half, skirting his way through, and eventually put down 30 metres out. Final tackle coming up. Langer to dummy half. He'll go himself. Can't get away from Gregory. Can get the pass to Lewis. It goes to Miles. Miles back through, puts a little kick through. Watch for Kilroy, but no, it's going to be Moon getting back there to take it for Illawarra. So they'll play it now. From the play the ball. Gee, there's not many players over there, David. It moved a little bit too quickly for them all.
Well, it was a good kick, that one by Gene Miles on the sixth tackle. He appealed there for a moment that Jason Moon may have knocked the ball forward. Graham Annesley would have nothing of it.
So Andy Gregory is the dummy half. He'll send it back this time to Russell working across field. So here they go again, a kick coming underneath it. Duffy's back there for the Broncos. It'll bounce down towards the quarter line. At one fine touch. He'll take it. Running it out now, straight ahead. Into the tackle of Wishart. Does a big job on him and the crowd love it. Hancock to dummy half. He decides to go himself. Got away from Wishart. Eventually upended by Hardy and put to the ground. Lewis is dummy half this time. To Langer. To Miles. Miles straight ahead.
Broncos just a little bit rattled here. They could do well just to have some strong forward rucks.
So coming up this time is back home. Michael Hancock down injured in the back play. Walters getting it away to Jackson, who juggles. Straight ahead, Rodwell's there. He tried to palm him off, but he gained some good valuable ground. Kept it going forward. Walters.
There's Michael Hancock just back to his feet.
Back to Dowling, unloads it to Jackson. Jackson still going. Action, Jackson away to Walters. Here's Kilroy.
stuff from Illawarra. The reply, Hardy was a mile offside there from the ruck, but it won't matter because he was in the position to take the intercept. Length of the field start, Wissart back on the inside, and he's done very well to get into position to score the try. Let's have a look at it. I took particular note. Hardy was about 10 metres offside. You can see it quite clearly there. Referee didn't pick it up. He was in position to make the intercept. Away he goes. He does well, Hardy, here to commit Gene Miles. There it is. I thought Hancock had him. Hancock had the pace on him. Wissart had the technique. Rushes just out of the tackle. Kept on his feet. Back in under the sticks. Illawarra in the match now. Here it is from the head on. Hardy there just holding the ball up nicely. No chance for Brett Lemay to get to him or Gene Miles. But Michael Hancock, plenty of pace, and then just couldn't affect the tackle. Grabbed at him, maybe went a little bit too early. Wishart in under the sticks, and all of a sudden, Illawarra back in the match.
What a 15-minute period for Illawarra in their second quarter, and the fans absolutely love it. But Billy, it came against the run of play, but it's brought them right back into the cup final with the kick to come.
My word, it has, and Wishart, the way he kicks, will have no trouble at that, and that'll narrow it down to just one try, the margin. And I think the bit of a break will do the Broncos good because they've been scattered a bit here.
Well, I think they made a mistake, Bill, that even in possession they tried to move the ball wide and they've just gone out of their pattern, those big men coming up the middle.
There's the kick, no doubt about it. And so it's 16 points to 12 with 3 minutes to go to the half-time break.
And I can tell you we've got a cup final on our hands. This has been a courageous comeback by Illawarra. They have got absolutely nothing to lose now in the final 43 minutes of this final. They trailed at one stage by 16 points to 0. They've got their tails up, and the Broncos must get their mind right back on this job if they're going to pick up the check for 170,000. Don't go away. We've got some great football ahead of you here on Brisbane 10's Panasonic Cup coverage of 89.
Referee there called time out because Lewis was wasting time coming up to the kick-off. He's now recalled time.
2 tries in 6 minutes to the Steelers. Tries by Rodwell and Wishart. And now Hardy, the man that pulled off the intercept as the Broncos were rampaging inside that attacking quarter, turned defence into attack and turned the attack into 6 points. Lewis now must assemble his troops. They appear to be running away with this cup final. But aren't these finals great levellers, David?
They certainly are, and with the crowd support that Illawarra are enjoying tonight, they're really lifted their game. When they were down 16-0, it could have been anything, could have been a hiding for them, but to their credit, they've come back.
Well, I just wonder whether Lang Park in round 8 is going through the Broncos' minds at the moment, because they had that game well and truly wrapped up, and finally it came down to a last-minute try by Alan Langer to put the seal on the match and 2 Whitfield Cup points.
So rest assured that Ronnie Hilditch will certainly make mention of that. That's a great kick, that one by Tony Smith. Peter Sterling there for Network 10 Sydney making a couple of comments. But Illawarra right back into this match. Important scrum this one with only 2 minutes to go up to half-time.
So the scrum midway between the half and the 22. Only the 3rd scrum of the match, and Lewis has made a rare mistake, but gee, how important could it be? It's put Illawarra on the attack, loose-headed feet. It was a fair pass straight to him, and Wally Lewis has flopped it.
He could well have been thinking about putting a kick downfield with only a couple of minutes to go, but now a great chance for the Steelers.
And watch Russell from the back of the scrum.
It's not Russell at the back of the scrum, is it?
There could be a set move on here, but the ball's come out. It was Smith who actually packed into at lock forward. So I think there was a set move on there with Russell playing out. But now the Brisbane Broncos are forced to defend. They are only a converted try up at the moment. And they've seen a 16-0 lead slip away. They lead by 16 points to 10. And the Steelers are coming at them from left and right and centre. And it's Steve Hansen who really has had an outstanding first half.
16-12, mate. He did get that kick.
16-12 the scoreline. And it is the Broncos on the back foot. Can the Steelers come up with another one before half-time? Final tackle. Tactics all important. Russell, will they run it again on tackle number 6? Here's a chance, Hardy. But finally, Sam Bacco forces the turnover, and the break can't come all too early because the Broncos are on the back foot. They lead by 16 points to 12. What a quarter for Illawarra. They've come back with 2 great tries. and only 4 points the difference in this cup final of 1989. Andy Gregory's had an outstanding first 40 minutes. Wally Lewis is worried, so too would Wayne Bennett. I just wonder what the team talk will be at half-time from the respective coaches. The crowd love it. I hope you won't go away. The second 40 minutes should be enthralling. We'll be back in just a moment.
Teams remained intact after the half-time break. There was only one change in that second quarter, and that was the one in the Illawarra team, and that's where Cavill Hugh came onto the field, and he's out there and been doing a pretty good job. Okay, Tony Durkin, just while we're waiting for the kick-off, down on the touchline once again.
And someone who no doubt can relate to the situation of underdog that Ron Hilditch finds himself in tonight is the West Coast Johnny Bailey. And John, a great comeback by the Steelers.
Yeah, excellent comeback by the Steelers. I think they're in with a big chance now.
Where do you think they can beat the Broncos?
Well, I think with a good kicking game and using down Joe Kilroy's wing, I think that's where they'll beat them, yeah.
Johnny, what's it like really to be an underdog coach, though? Is it easier, do you think, in a situation like this, a four-quarter football, to get your side revved up?
Well, I think it definitely is in four-quarter football, yeah. I think with the crowd behind them too. I don't think the Broncos have seen this sort of crowd down here in New South Wales, and I think they'll go a long way to getting home.
A bit like Lang Park on the other foot.
Yeah, it certainly is. I was up there the other day, it certainly is. Yeah.
Okay, Johnny, thanks very much, and all the best for the rest of the year with West.
Thank you.
Ball is going to be taken back there by Duffy after the kick through by Andy Gregory. And so Duffy fights his way for another metre or so before he's put down. Hancock away from dummy half. Straight ahead is going to be held up in the tackle. From the play the ball, it's Big Gene Miles as dummy half. Langer to Lewis, outside to Jackson. Jackson straight ahead, but going to be wrapped up. They're still down inside their own quarter, the Broncos. Walters goes without it. Scoops it up, runs across field, and eventually back to about the same amount of distance he was from his own line before.
Very ordinary start to the second half by Brisbane. There again, mistiming the ruck. Gene Miles manages to rush through a tackle, but Brisbane really not being totally committed. On the other hand, Illawarra had a very good start and rucked downfield well.
Final tackle, back it goes to Lewis. A kick comes in.
Off Sam Bacco's back.
And it's lost back there by Duffy, so Illawarra end up with it. So the dummy half waiting up there for it will be Smith. He'll turn it away to Andy Gregory. Gregory props, cuts back the other way. He'll find Russell. Russell trying to get away up the centre. Pulled to the ground right on the quarter line.
Brisbane asleep.
From the play the ball now. Back will go this time to Walsh. Walsh straight ahead. He's about 15 metres out. They'll wait to take it up now. Way from dummy half. Trying to find a way through there is Hanson, is it? Or Morrissey. Morrissey. So from the play the ball back the other way. Gregory getting it away to Smith. Smith to Russell, standing wide. There's Ben over. Still going nicely. Rodwell. And eventually they're going to be bundled up and into touch.
What a tackle by Tony Curry. He was outnumbered. Look at Curry go across field. No dummies for Tony Curry. Got underneath Rodwell and just thrust him with the help of Wally Lewis straight into touch. Great work by the two experienced players.
Well, what a start for Illawarra into this, the third quarter. This is Duffy coming up from the fullback spot. Hampson was over there to follow him.
I'll tell you what, Bill, the way that this Illawarra side is committed, Brisbane can ill afford to make errors in their own quarter like they did just a moment ago.
So that's Hancock with it now. Couldn't agree more. So Walters up his dummy half. Sam Bacco taking it up again.
Interesting that Wayne Bennett elected not to use James Donnelly, who's a fresh reserve at the half-time break, to make the swap. He's left Bacco on there, and really Brisbane do need a bit of thrust in midfield.
That's Duffy with it, going to be wrapped up in the tackle over there of Smith.
Bacco worked very hard in the first half. He came up with 17 tackles and really will be very tired at this stage.
That's Gene Miles not making much headway up the centre. The defence is good there from Illawarra. This is the final tackle away to Lewis. They're charging at him, but he gets a kick in this time. Hampson back there to take it on the full. Hampson did it well. Sent it back over there to Wishart. Wishart up to the halfway mark before he's going to be put down. Broncos leading by 16 to 12. They keep it going. This is Moon. Moon is going to be wrapped up this time. Forced back in the tackle by Lewis. Langham was underneath. It's a little bit more like it. Skipperlady away from dummy half. Swept up the centre. They still keep it going. Cutting through is Rodwell. Rodwell going to be knocked over midway between the quarter and halfway down in Broncos territory. Away they go again. This is Morrissey up the centre making plenty of headway. From the play the ball, Skipperlady. Skipperlady goes himself. There's another gap. He's working across field and Lewis is left to put him down. Final tackle, Andy Gregory. Doesn't know what to do, eventually puts it up nice and high, carrying across field. Up they go, knocked back. back by Illawarra eventually ends up in the hands of Terry Madison.
Andy Gregory didn't know what to do, Bill, but he certainly had plenty of time to do it, and he had time to think about it. Brisbane not committed in the defensive department. Illawarra making plenty of ground when they've got the ball, and they're totally committed in defence. I said before the match, it wasn't the Brisbane attack that would be any sort of a problem. It would be their commitment in defence, and if they don't start putting it together there, Illawarra will get a roll on.
Well, Illawarra's defence has run up to the mark because we've seen Dowling and Sam Backer. They get there and they can't go much further, can they? Rock solid stuff. They keep it going this time, though. This is Jackson. Jackson still going. He's up over the halfway mark. Jackson trying to position Kilroy. Round the corner to Kilroy. Loses it. Picked up by Langer. Got it away to Madison. Madison wrapped up on the quarter line. Final tackle has been knocked over by Skipperlini trying to get up to play it. Kilroy gets it back to Langer. Langer with a little kick. Looking for Kilroy, following out after it. Back into the in-goal area. Dived out and wrapped up back there for Illawarra.
Better passage of play from Brisbane. It took Peter Jackson to put them on the attack. The pass back on the inside was not a good one in the first instant. And then after that tackle was made by Hampson, it was Alan Langer chipping the kick over the top. Beautifully weighted kick, forcing Illawarra to make the ball dead. A goal line dropout, the first one Illawarra have had to make in the match.
Well, tremendous pressure applied by both sides in the opening 5 minutes of this vital third quarter. And it's Joe Kilroy running the ball up for the Brisbane Broncos. But Skipper Lighty meets him headlong. And one thing that was noticeable in a couple of passages of play in the opening 3 or 4 minutes of this third quarter was the fact that Skipperlady was starting to make some progress from dummy half.
He's a real special player, Dean Skipperlady, from Queensland, ex-Queenslander, and can really play the game.
Now Lewis, the pass has gone astray and a mistake by the Broncos early in the tackle count.
Well, pressure coming on Brisbane now. That was their standard set piece where Lewis fades across behind Dowling. He looked for Miles and the pass was put down. It means pressure on the Broncos. It's no more trading moves now. This is grand final stuff and every pass counts.
And we have an injured player in the Broncos camp. It's Sam Backo hobbling back into position.
Should be a quick change.
Now Russell makes progress again. It's Dowling and Miles that get under him and put him on the ground. Now this fellow has really been the midfield general for Illawarra, and that's Andy Gregory. Final tackle for the Steelers. Will we see the big kick downfield or the little chip over the top? It's going to be the big one from Smith. It's going down towards Kilroy's wing, and Kilroy fumbles it, knocks it back, and the referee, I don't believe that decision.
Joe can't believe it either. There's no way for mine he could have knocked that ball on. He was always going backwards and actually running in that direction. We'll see it on replay though. Here it is, Joe Kilroy, knocked back for sure, knocked back again.
No, the second one he propelled the ball the other way, David.
No, I can't agree with you, Fordo. For mine a knockback, but now a great chance for Illawarra. Scrum to pack, loose head and feed.
Well, the replacement has been made. Donnelly is on for Sam Backo. Donnelly about to pack into his first scrum. Backo did all the early work, he did it well, but now the Steelers with the scrum win inside the corner. Russell stood out, Hampson came in the line. He tried to get through the tackle of Wally Lewis. Now they move, still on the attacking quarter. The Steelers on the boil. They trail by 4. It goes to Gregory, and the Brisbane defence called on again. It's only 8 metres out from the try line. This is a vital passage of play for the Steelers. It goes to Smith, the little kick. It's rebounded. Smith again. 6 more to go, says the referee.
Correct decision. Alan Langer definitely played at the ball in.
Now Hardy. Gee, that come back well, the Steelers. They sense they're still in this cup final in a big way. Skipperlady, the reversal of play. Cavalier lost it. Lewis goes to ground. Put the pressure right on the Broncos. Donnelly, first touch. Driven back by Walsh.
There's Wally Lewis who took the ball. Cavill Hewitt lost it, but he also made the tackle on Lewis.
Jackson 10 metres out from his own goal line. This was just the start of the third quarter the Steelers wanted. But they've got to turn this pressure into points, because I think if a try is scored by the Broncos in this third quarter, it could break the Steelers back. On the other hand, if the Steelers draw blood, the Broncos are in real strife. Listen to that crowd behind the Steelers. There's the kick downfield by Stevie Hampson. Langer's up. Good tackle by Langer. Wishart got away from Langer. A good run upfield by Wishart. Takes play 8 metres in the Broncos end of the ground. Rodwell. makes easy yards up the middle.
And they are making a lot of ground out of the dummy half position there. Just the sort of roll-on rucks that really give good attacking ball.
Now Gregory held it up through the dummy, kept the ball alive to Rodwell. This young fellow is a class player. So Skipolati, and his opposite number, Kerrod Walters, is forced to defend. Listen to the crowd behind the Steelers. Rodwell again makes easy yards out of dummy half. And the Broncos are right on the back foot of the final tackle. Here goes Hansen. That's good defence by Langer. The pass has gone forward. The turnover of possession, but the Broncos under pressure.
They have a great tackle, Alan Langer, there to save the day for Brisbane after Illawarra has made enormous territory out of the dummy half position. Michael Hancock, I think the problem there that Brisbane are making, that when they do run from dummy half, they're not getting away from the single marker, and that's really the secret to tonight's match.
Well, up until the halfway mark of the second quarter, it was all the Brisbane Broncos. The last 20 minutes have belonged to the Steelers. They realise this is their big moment. The best result they've ever had was 8th in 1984 in the Winfield Cup when they strung together 12 wins. They finished with the wooden spoon the following 2 years. Tonight they're playing in their first major final since coming into the premiership way back in 1982. Terry Madison, who tonight is vying for the Superstar Award after great performances against Canberra and also against Parramatta. There's the kick downfield by Wally Lewis. It's trapped by Steve Hampson, 8 metres out from his own goal line. And that's a good chasing game by Darling. Now Wishart, and again, that's an ominous sign. This was the problem they had last year, David, where they were being opened up the middle of that ruck.
Yeah, Brett Lemaine's marked up a few times and he's not working hard enough. Still thinking he's got a second marker, and really the marker must work. There's again, Lewis kept on the ground, no marker at all, easy 5 metres.
Russell is the man at dummy half, looking for runners. He runs from dummy half. Final tackle, Gregory, the little master.
Offside Brisbane. What a penalty on the 6th tackle. The crowd calling again for offside. They finally got it. Another penalty to Illawarra, and they've now got another chance to gain territory downfield. Andy Gregory, the little general. Gene Miles showing he's very tired. Why wouldn't the Broncos be tired too? They played in the mud and slush at Cockerell last week. They played another game midweek down at Bathurst. They've had a very heavy program, these players, and they're going to be pushed right to the limit.
So now they take the tap. Skipolati sends it outside, this time to Walsh. Walsh charging up towards the quarter line before he's put down. He'll play it. Skipolati again. Works it outside to Morrissey. Morrissey repelled just about a metre on that occasion. One of the few times they've knocked them back, but they take it up with Cavill Hugh. Hugh charging his way through. Eventually, Broncos have got possession.
Kerrod Walters, I think it is.
And they won't get off and let him play it. Cavill Hugh losing the ball again that time. He's lost it a few times now since he's been out there. 3 occasions, as a matter of fact. Walters getting away to Dowling. Dowling straight ahead. He's trying to work up to that quarter line.
Graham Annesley must be consistent with his 5 metres. He needs to watch both sides. He's caught Brisbane a number of times. And Illawarra really moving up and getting to that advantage line. That is that imaginary line across the middle of the ruck. It's very important for any side to get past that advantage line and get a roll on.
Miles to Kilroy. Kilroy straight ahead, cutting back inside. Still going, Smoke and Joe, and eventually going to be held up and thrown to the ground on the quarter line by Rodwell. On the halfway line by Rodwell. Plays it forward, but he gives a penalty.
Decided there by Annesley that there was a marker. Gee, these are fundamental errors by Brisbane. There's James Kilroy busting his way clear. Is there anyone standing up to mark him when he plays the ball? No chance. He had the chance to run the ball there. Rodwell's to the side. Annesley thought differently. And once again, now Illawarra with another bonus 6 tackles and also territory. The last 4 penalties have gone to the Steelers.
So now we'll see Skipolati coming onto the mark, and it's on again, back to where we were before. Walsh coming up, although he's a bit reluctant that time. Slowed down, they've been charging up there, but he just held back a little there. Skipolati goes himself. He doesn't hold back, but just get him on the quarter line. Morrissey dummy half. He'll go himself straight ahead. Gets away from Lewis. Eventually, Miles will finishing up. Skipolati, the dummy half. Broncos leading by 16 to 12. This is Gregory, chased by Lewis, and Lewis eventually, with a bit of help from Donnelly, will put him down. Skipolati to dummy half. Skipolati straight ahead, still going, pull down about 5 metres out. Here's the final tackle. What do? Smith to dummy half, to Gregory. Little chip through, they're all diving at it. Is it a try? No try.
Knocked forward by Illawarra, relief for the Broncos. The ball will come back now to the 22-metre line. It was Russell, I think, who chased onto that ball. just couldn't ground the ball. When you look at it, the vagrancies of rugby league, we've seen Illawarra score one try from a kick similar to this. The ball didn't bounce for them then, and only just Tony Curry contested the ball. Broncos now with a chance to run it out.
Kieran Walters gets it away to Gene Miles. He pushes away the tackle of Rodwell. He's looking for Kilroy. Back inside, Smokin' Joe, and held up a metre short of the halfway mark. 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Broncos with a lead of 16 to 12. It's been a great final so far. Dowling charging up and gets a good 10-metre run there from him. That's more like it. Walters to dummy half. Away to Alan Langer. Puts a little kick in up over the top. Hanson coming at it, and Hanson will take it. Good fullback, this fella.
Positional play has been excellent. There it is, Alan Langer, the dangerous little kick over the top. Hampson attacked the ball, which is so important. Make sure he got there before Alan Langer. Now Illawarra in possession, 10 metres inside their own territory.
So from the play, the ball back, it goes to Gregory, trying to skip his way up the centre, pulled out about 3 metres short of the halfway mark. He'll play it. And plenty of atmosphere here at Parramatta Stadium tonight, I can assure you. Russell working across field, or Hardy rather. Back it goes this time. Smith's going to put in the kick. And that's racing towards touch and finds it.
Joey Kilroy didn't have a chance to drop back. He was needed in defence on this blind side. Illawarra keeping the pressure on. They've had territorial advantage for most of this quarter. Good kick, that one from Smith. Finds touch. Brisbane will have loose head and feed though. Scrums at this stage favour the Broncos by 4 to 2.
Scrum feed by Langer. But the Illawarra side sense they're 25 minutes away from creating some sort of cup history. Langer, Lewis, it goes to Jackson. But the classic part of this third quarter is the fact that they've hung in so well, the Steelers. They finished the second quarter so strongly. They've done exactly what Ron Hilditch would have wanted in the opening 15 minutes of this third quarter. And I'm sure that Ron Hilditch would love to see the side convert this pressure into points before the three-quarter time break. On the other hand, the pressure is on the Broncos to try and just skip that little way clear. There's been no score in this third quarter that's 15 minutes old.
Rest assured, there's some very tired Broncos out there. They're really feeling the pinch on the sixth tackle.
Now Lewis kicking downfield. The chasing game not as good as we've seen in recent games. It goes back to the wing of Moon. He decides to try and run it outside the quarter. He came to the defensive line, bumped away Jackson. Oh, and poor defence by the Broncos. Finally, it was Greg Dowling in the middle of the field that stopped the progress. Now running out of dummy half is Rodwell. This is where the Steelers have had the roll on. Watch now for Victor Walsh. Gee, he's geared up for this game tonight. One of the real seasoned veterans in this Illawarra side. Wouldn't he dearly love to lead them to victory tonight? Hanson, it goes to Russell. And they've made 30 or 40 metres easily. And they're now in the attacking zone. Gregory scheming as usual. Long floating pass for Wishart. Came back infield, but look at the defence of Curry again getting across there. Also Michael Hancock. Now they move it. Gregory. Now Rodwell is offside. That player's been taken away without the ball.
6 to go.
6 more to go.
Well, they should get offside here now, the Broncos. They can ill afford to let Illawarra get a roll on.
Now Rodwell. Hardy. Well, Peter Jackson was taken out early without the ball then, but the referee honestly allowed play to go on. And now the Steelers, Skipper-Lady. It goes to Cavill-Hugh. He tried to get the pass away to Hardy again, but he had to take the tackle. Now they move it again. A long pass from Skipper-Lady, left behind. Picked up by Morrissey. And Morrissey's taken just 2 metres out. They're calling the defensive line, the Broncos. Here's a chance, Skipper-Lady, good defence, he's held up. That's final tackle.
Push back.
The Steelers. Smith, the kick into the in goal. Shoveled over the dead ball line. Great pressure by the Steelers. And the Broncos still under pressure.
Here it is. Smith it was to put the little kick through. Only 3 minutes to go up to three-quarter time. Shane Duffy there just to knock the ball clear. The Broncos will get a breather because the touch judge has come in to make a report. And Tony Durkin down on the sideline.
Well, this is shades of 1984, isn't it, when Brisbane just had to defend for grim death against Eastern Suburbs. That was in the final minutes of the game, and they've had to do it again tonight. And what a great match the Steelers have turned on for this huge crowd here tonight. 99.9% of them who are behind Illawarra.
Very interesting replay there. Wally Lewis over to talk with referee Annesley. The report is that maybe Michael Hancock has used an elbow in a late tackle on Andy Gregory.
This could be sensational because the referee is taking a very long report here from the touch judge. He could even react to the ultimate. He's taking the report, nodding his head. The touch judge leaves the scene. The penalty will go to Illawarra. So Brisbane still with more pressure, but it could have been even worse than that. The penalty has been awarded where the incident occurred, but there will be no send-off incident, no sin-binning incident. And there's plenty of captains out there. Andy Gregory says, I think we should keep the touch. What do you think? And with a couple of minutes, 1 minute only to go now in the Panasonic Cup final, they're going to keep, 2 points. And
well, I think the correct decision at this stage.
I agree. With only 1 minute to go, really anything can happen in that time. And it would be unlikely that they'd be able to get across for a try. Had there been more like 5 minutes, maybe keeping the pressure on to really come up with maximum points. But here, they can get a bonus 2 points. 16 points to 12 at the moment. This game is really up for grabs. Should they kick this goal, 16-14, could we have the unbelievable situation of a penalty countback if it got to a draw at the end of the game? And you can bet your life that Illawarra are well and truly out in front on the penalties. They've got the last 5 penalties, and they lead in the penalty count at the moment by 9-4.
What a vital kick for Rod Wishart. The siren has sounded for three-quarter time. It's been a mighty effort in the third quarter by the Steelers. There's the kick, and they turn it into points. It is a beauty. 16 points to 14. What a cup final. Let's look at it again. How important is this kick? He sloped it in. That was an ideal kick from around the corner kicker from that side of the field. Rod Wishart has answered the pressure, and the Steelers win the third quarter 2-0. They brought it back to 16 points to 14. And I said at half-time, what a great game Andy Gregory's having. He's so used to playing in these cup finals. Let's see what happens. 20 minutes to go. Are we about to see a boil-over in 89?
Well, this is it, folks, the final quarter of this 1989 Panasonic Cup final. A crowd of 16,968 here tonight. I'd venture to say 16,800 Illawarra supporters. And Wayne Bennett, I don't think I've seen him so activated for quite some time.
No, he's laying down the law there. He realises now it's going to be that extra little bit. If his players have got it in them, he'll need that extra little bit in the last 20 minutes of the final.
Tony, what you've seen down there on the touchline, you're a lot closer to what's happening in those team sections. What's your story down there?
Well, you saw Wayne Bennett, and he did lay down the law, and he was talking to his experienced players. On the other side of the fence, Illawarra was so calm, it was unbelievable. Ron Hilditch hardly said a word to his players. They were smiling to each other. Andy Gregory and the skipper, Chris Walsh, having a yarn to each other, and gee, they look confident at the break, Illawarra.
All right, we'll see what the story is. They trail by 2 points at the moment, 16-14. That's Walsh taking it up again. He's done it all night. I think there was only once he just sort of held back a little bit, but the rest of the time it's been forward at full motion. This is Hardy. Chased over there and put to the ground by Gene Miles. Final tackle. So they'll swing it back. It'll be Smith with a kick again. One fine touch this time. Duffy's back there, takes it on the quarter, runs it out, but there's plenty of followers up there for Illawarra.
Billy, the Wollongong Town Hall tonight is full of Steelers supporters. Radio Reynolds have put up 6 large screens there tonight to watch the 10 telecast. You reckon they wouldn't be ecstatic at the moment?
Well, I don't think there'll be much left of the Wollongong Town Hall at this stage. They would have ripped everything apart. Even more so if they happen to win it. They played particularly well. They put plenty of pressure on. That's James Donnelly up the centre. He unloaded it to Dowling. Dowling straight ahead, but going to be wrapped up in the defence of Cavill Hugh, 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Kieran Walters dummy half. And the Steelers trail by 2 points. Broncos leading by 16-14.
There's the crowd there, and haven't they given their team plenty of local support? Lewis once again under pressure. He's been under pressure every time he's kicked the ball tonight. Illawarra really haven't suffered the same sort of pressure. Brisbane has not had that chasing game to harass the kickers.
And barreled after he kicked the ball, wasn't he?
Back on his feet.
No one made a murmur from the touchline, Tony.
The touch judge, I believe, Billy, was even looking.
However, let's go. Skipper-Lady from the dummy half to Morrissey. Hasn't he had a big game? And playing under quite a deal of duress tonight.
Certainly has in the third quarter. Interesting that Lewis and Miles were the leading tacklers in that third quarter. It really means that the most experienced players are being called on to do some of the heavy workload.
There's Gregory, had time to swing around, have a good look around, and then come around and put the boot into it. So Duffy picks it up again, and there's plenty of Illawarra Steelers following out after. Lost the ball, picked up. Away it goes this time, cutting around and still going, trying to get away back there is Hansen. So Illawarra back in possession and on the rantan. Skipper-Lady.
Second time that Duffy has lost the ball in his own quarter and allowed pressure to come back on the Broncos.
Gregory to Russell, doubling around again, but Russell out of the first couple of tackles, away from Lewis, over the quarter line. Lost the ball though, Langer comes away with it.
Well, tit for tat.
Just as well he did. He'll play the ball. Donnelly from dummy half, gets it outside to Duffy. Hang on to it, Duff.
Well, I think the dummy half play from the Broncos has not been as effective tonight because you really need to take one step out of the dummy half position with a single marker and commit the marker and then take the 5 metres, and that hasn't been happening with the Broncos.
Here's Walters scuffling his way through, 10 metres short of that halfway mark. 3 minutes gone, and this is the final quarter. Gene Miles from dummy half, away to Madison, back into the ruck.
Just what I was talking about there. It was very easy there for Walsh just to step out of the marker position and affect the tackle.
So it's Walters from dummy half again. He'll swing away to Lewis. He turns it back the other way. Taken by Duffy. A kick coming in. And, oh, is that out of the full? Yes, it is.
Touchdown decided it was. Tony Durkin on the sideline. Have to see it. Here it is on replay, Tony. Just before we get your comment, the kick by Jackson on the line is out. Definitely out on the full. Illawarra on the attack.
And a change to be made in the Illawarra side too. Craig Keane in jersey number 15 is coming on, and he'll replace Les Morrissey.
Skipper-Lady up there as dummy half. Works his way through again. Eventually Walters will pull him down. They're 30 metres out now, the Illawarra Steelers. And it goes to Gregory. Working across field. Oh, he sent it round behind Rodwell. Eventually came across to Moon, and he's knocked it on.
Well, one of the few errors that Illawarra have made. They've been very creative in attack. They've been quite constructive, and their handling has been very good. That's what's put a lot of pressure on the Brisbane side. Brisbane still hang on. Grasp onto that lead, 16-14 now with 16 minutes to go.
Waiting for Alan Langer to feed. In by Langer. Comes basically out the centre. He's been grabbed by Gregory, but he's a penalty.
Offside, Gregory. You must stay behind the scrum until the ball has come out. But this little fellow was as keen as possible. And there it is, Langer trying to pick the ball up. Gregory on top of him immediately. And referee Graham Annesley giving the penalty.
Tony Durkin down on the touchline with a man who's had a big match tonight, Les Morrissey.
Well, Les, a fantastic effort. You're not home yet. Of course, you've still got to make up that leeway, but a great effort by the Steelers today.
Oh, that's for sure. We lost on the weekend. The Broncos lost, so we knew if we got in here tonight, we went forward and sort of contained Miles, Lewis, and Langer and Jackson. We had a chance. So.
You've done a great job, Les. Obviously, you feel pretty great at the moment. You think you can go on with it?
Well, the boys are confident out there, so yeah, for sure.
And Les, I believe this one's for Dad.
Yeah, for sure. And the family up home too.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, sadly, Les Morrissey lost his father midweek. He flew up to Townsville for the funeral and flew back to Sydney this morning. And he played a mighty game out of that situation.
Gene Miles there. The penalty has gone toward the Broncos. Fordo. Miles trying to play the ball was interfered with. Brisbane not taking the 2 points. Jackson to look for touch. The second penalty for Brisbane now in a couple of minutes, but they hadn't got one prior to that for 20 minutes.
Well, they haven't scored for 42 minutes. Their last points came in the 23rd minute of the first half. And since then, it's been all the Illawarra Steelers. They've applied tremendous pressure on a very tired-looking Bronco outfit. And when I mention tired, it's quite understandable. They've had a tremendous workload in recent weeks, but you cannot excuse the fact that let this great lead be reduced by as much as the Illawarra side have reduced it.
Brett LeMan, probably one of the tightest players. Normally he wouldn't drop that ball. He cut from the blind side of the open. Amazing there, Donnelly thought he was in an offside position, wanted someone to pick it up, but it had been touched by Illawarra, even though he was in front of Brett LeMan, and therefore he was back in an onside position.
Oh, tremendous hit by Wally Lewis. Now, will that inspire the Broncos? It's taken away by Keane. He was the reserve grade player of the year last year. We saw him in action at Lang Park when he played at lock forward in that match against the Broncos. Won on that occasion by 32 points to 24. But the Illawarra side stormed back on that occasion, as they have done here tonight at the Parramatta Stadium. Superb pass for Russell up towards halfway, and the Broncos call to defend again. Here's Gregory. What a mighty game he's had for a man with a broken hand. He's as tough as nails. Keane to the halfway line. Final tackle. The Steelers through Gregory. Clever kick by Gregory, putting pressure on Kilroy's wing. He's touched the ball, and it's been ruled in touch. Gee, I'd love to have a look at this one again.
Well, mistakes coming from the Broncos. They continually kick to Joey Kilroy's ring. It was interesting that John Bailey, the West coach, said that they had to attack Kilroy's wing. Here it is, the ball bouncing toward the touchline.
Yes, correct decision.
So it's quick to put his flag up. Loose head and feed the Steelers.
Well, that's the important thing, that it is the Illawarra feed, and Hampson's come in the line for the first time. He's thrown the pass beautifully. Rodwell in open space. Jackson runs him down. He's got the pass back in. No, he's hung onto it. Illawarra on the boil. It goes to Russell. He runs sideways, held the pass up beautifully, but it's been dropped and the pressure goes off the Broncos once again.
Skipperlidi dropped the ball. Alan Langer was the one who was applying the pressure there. Look at Langer there, searching out, looking for the receiver. Got in front of Skipperlidi. Didn't have a clear go at the ball. And Brisbane in possession.
Now Lewis. So they'll have to call on all the experience of their seasoned campaigners in the Broncos outfit if they're going to maintain this lead or skip ahead. We mentioned before the telecast started, 69 test matches and 77 state of origin appearances among the Broncos players, and all that experience is going to have to come out in the final 13 or 14 minutes of this cup final for 1987. It's the Broncos by 16 to 14. It's been a mighty comeback by the Steelers. The rank underdogs in this final. They were down by 16 to 0. It goes to Lewis. Then to Miles. Oh, great defence. Miles got the kick in, but it's straight down the throat of one of the safest men in the Winfield Cup, and that's Steve Hampson. And he's as tough as nails, and so too is Alan Langer.
Took a second time to get him, but he made sure he finished it off nicely.
Now Wishart making easy yards. He's been bumped back in that tackle by Donnelly.
Marcus must work.
Now Russell working to Hardy. They're 9 metres short of the halfway line. The Steelers sense the tiredness in the Broncos camp, and they're making easy yards up the middle. Here's another break by Rodwell. Gee, this young fellow's impressed me.
A lot of ability.
He had a tough assignment tonight against Jackson and Curry. His confidence was eroded early, but he's stuck to the task, and he's come back beautifully. Here's another great pass from Russell to Smith. The ball's gone forward. It's a Broncos ball, 32 metres out from their own goal line. It's Gene Miles that comes up with possession.
Tony Curry there, desperation in defence, had to turn and chase and did his job well.
So we're about 11 minutes away from the full-time hooter. The two questions to be answered: can the Broncos hang on, or can the Steelers skip to the lead for the first time in the ball game? The crowd would tend to suggest that the Steelers aren't spent yet. Tremendous support. 53 buses came from the steel city of Wollongong tonight, a city that's produced some great champions like Graham Langlands, Bobby Fulton, Keith Barnes, John Doherty in the past. They've got 13 great champions out there tonight.
They have, and Lewis gets a good kick away there to put finally some territory between Illawarra and the try line.
Here's Jason Moon, spent a couple of seasons with South Sydney and only played a couple of games last year in the top grade, but he's handled the pressure tonight in this cup final well, as this young teenager Rodwell has. Since half-time, Wally Lewis has made 15 tackles. That's the desperation in the Broncos camp at the moment. And as I mentioned, it's going to take an effort like that from the seasoned campaigners to keep them in this cup final. The chase is evident from Illawarra. It's back for a tired-looking Shane Duffy, and the chase is on, but he's hung onto the football. That's the most important thing of that passage of play. Now Langer, he got it away to Hancock, who's had limited opportunities. Oh, look at that defence. And that crowd love it. I don't think Michael Hancock enjoyed it.
He tried to get up and run, and he was a bit lucky he wasn't penalised.
Billy, what a final.
Well, 9 minutes to go in the match. The Broncos hanging on to a lead of 16 to 14 as James Donnelly takes it up. Wrapped up 11 metres short of the halfway mark. Broncos, who would you believe? How would you believe it? Crowd looking for a knock-on, but the referee says off his boot. They're keeping the ball alive. Up the centre is Gene Miles, led by 16 to 0, and Illawarra have fought back to trail by 2 points.
Billy, how would you be if you went to bed at 16-0 and woke up tomorrow morning to see what's happened in this cup final?
You'd be very, very upset. Kick through once again to Hampson. Isn't it amazing the bit of experience, though, of Hampson and Gregory out there, and these young fellas have had just that little bit of pressure off them, and they really responded tonight. Here's Rodwell again. Top-class match. Skipperlady sends it away over there to Moon, working across field, and eventually wrapped up, put to the ground on the tackle of Brett LeMan and also Terry Madison. Skipperlady turns it back inside. Cavill-Hugh takes it up. They gain their customary 5 or 6 metres. So back to Gregory. Props, cuts up the centre. Didn't see Madison coming from behind. We got the pass back. Hardy picks it up. He in turn keeps it going. But eventually going to the ground with the ball is Cavill-Hugh. This is the final tackle. Skipperlady says, well, I'll have a kick this time. It's good fun. Drives it deep down into Broncos territory. It bounces up nicely for Duffy. He'd be pleased about that. Skipperlady's up there, but he got away from the tackle. Still going Duffy. Pulled out about 20 metres short of the halfway mark. And away from dummy half, Michael Hancock trying to find a way up the centre, but no chance of that happening. Walters to dummy half. He decides to go that way too. He's broken away. He's looking for support. Kicks forward. Alan Lang is following out after it. He's been touched a little bit, but I don't think it'll matter. There's Wishart coming back together.
Red call play on. Alan Lang was on his right-hand side. Kieran Walters kicked. Chance was on, but the chance now has gone.
So it's back with Illawarra, who keep churning up towards that quarter line. 7 minutes remaining, the crowd really starting to boo. Referee Annesley anticipating, well, hoping to get a penalty out of him for Broncos, but they're well back behind him at the moment. That's Russell, loses the ball, it rolls on the ground, kicked across field, and that is going to be the knock-on.
Tony Curry there not wanting to get involved once the knock-on had been affected. Here's Andy Gregory, pops the ball back on the inside to Russell. He just couldn't handle the ball, came too quickly at him, and there the ball had come off Brett LeMan. Tony Curry didn't want to touch it. He knew the Broncos would have loose head and feet.
Langer across to Lewis. Lewis looking for Duffy, doubling around, then decided to go himself, but Smith is there to put him down. They're 32 metres out from the Illawarra line. Langer back over to Madison. Madison outside to Jackson. He's up over the quarter line, looking a bit dangerous here. Pops it over the top. Miles takes it. Miles in for the try, and that should be it.
Should the try, Broncos. The pass came out wide. They've had limited opportunities. Look at the elation there. Relief almost on the faces of the Broncos players. Exhaustion. Langer out of the dummy half. Let one player go. It was Miles. Madison gives the gap to Peter Jackson. He had Tony Curry on his outside. Jackson over the top. Gene Miles had to catch one of the passes he's normally delivering, and then just his momentum carries him across. Have a look at this. Langer out of dummy half. Finds his mark with Madison. Madison gives the gap to Peter Jackson. Jackson determination. Always trying to set up Gene Miles. Look at that. Great ball control. He took it on his fingertips, regained it with the other hand, and then over the try line. Brisbane in front. They'll still need this kick to ensure that Illawarra are out of touch, because only 6 points in it now, 20 points to 14. Brisbane need an 8-point buffer. A converted try by Illawarra would bring them back to equal, and that would mean back to penalties, and penalties at the moment favour Illawarra.
Really great reward for Gene Miles, because he's come up with 26 tackles in this match, particularly in the second half when he was really needed.
Terry Madison taking plenty of time to line up this shot at goal. There's Michael Bolt coming onto the field. Tony, can you pick up who he's replaced? Here he is coming down now. So Bolt is out there on the field, and he's replaced Smith, Tony Smith, the 5'8", and another replacement coming off also. Meanwhile, Madison is back, ready for the shot at goal. Time ticking away here at Parramatta Stadium, and he has kicked it. That makes it 22 to 14. Here's Tony.
Well, in fact, Trevor Kissel has gone on to replace Tony Smith, and Michael Bolt is on in the Illawarra side in jersey number 17, and he's replaced number 11, Dean Hanson.
Well, it took 50 minutes for the Broncos to register that try since the last one by Sam Bacco, when they looked as though they had the cup final wrapped up. This Illawarra side, their supporters are somewhat stunned at the moment, because they have turned in one of the most courageous performances of the 1989 season. They lifted their game, they've battled, they've kept the pressure on the Broncos, and all of a sudden, the Broncos absorbed that pressure, as they've done a lot during the year. They've turned it into points through their experience of players like Langer, Jackson and Miles. But finally, the try came, and it appears it may have taken the stuffing out of this Illawarra side. Let's see what they can do. Here's Gregory. He's not done yet. Neither is Rodwell.
Forward pass, desperation now, Illawarra. They realise they'll need a miracle to get out of this one. There's less than 4 minutes to go in the match. Here's Andy Gregory, caught by Kerrod Walters, a persistent defender, well and truly forward, actually in an offside position, could easily have been a penalty. The Broncos will take it though, loose head and feet at the scrum.
Well, a special flight leaving Sydney tonight with the Broncos on it as Gregory comes against the feed. A chance for Illawarra. Russell slips in that very loose bit of Parramatta Stadium. Now he's still on the boil. Numbers on the right. Back for Rodwell. Rodwell through the dummy. But the defence is there of the Broncos. They lose the ball. The referee says play on. It goes open side again. Hampson. Try! A try to the Steelers. They're not out of the cup final yet. A tremendous try by their Wigan fullback, Steve Hampson. And more jubilation for the Illawarra supporters.
Great work. Michael Bolt got the ball out of the dummy half position. Broncos held off. Tony Curry there just a bit late on the scene. Hampson scores the try. I think it's too late for Illawarra though, but Michael Bolt, who won the ball against the feed in that scrum, just on the field as we interviewed him earlier in the evening, the first player to run on for Illawarra. He'll be very pleased at this stage that he's at least given his side some hope. There's Hampson, just gets across in a Tony Curry tackle. And Illawarra, they're going to send this game right to the wire inside the last 3 minutes.
Well, they struck back in 3 minutes after the Gene Miles try. What an absolute gem of a final this has been. And the exhaustion on the faces there of the Illawarra players. Smith, in particular, has done a great job in that unfamiliar 5/8 role. Final 2 minutes of play. Wishart converted one from here earlier tonight. A vital kick. He moves in. He struck it well. The touch judges say yes, okay, and it's 22 points to 20. 2 minutes remain. Illawarra will receive the ball from the kickoff. What have they got in store for the Broncos?
What a kick by Wishart. He's given them a great chance. If the Broncos give away penalties now, that guy could win the game for them. We're back to 2 minutes. And what an opportunity now. And that's what they're after tonight, the Panasonic Cup. And both sides have battled desperately to get their hands on it.
I was about to say that the Broncos are going back tonight on a special flight, a charter flight, which will be arriving back at the Ensa terminal in Brisbane around about midnight. And I just wonder, these final 2 minutes will either make that a very long trip or one to celebrate. The Steelers are not out of this cup final. Skiffolidi has had a gem of a game tonight. Gee, he's played well. Final minute, the countdown begins. It's Russell, the desperate defence by the Broncos. Russell kept it alive. It's Rodwell. Rodwell up towards halfway, but it's a Tony Curry tackle. 10 metres short of halfway. Michael Bolt got the pass away, and Lewis is in there. Gee, he senses the urgency. The Steelers, Gregory calling for it. Running sideways through the dummy. The defence is there of the Broncos. Into the final minute, as I mentioned. It goes to Michael Bolt. Here's a chance. Kessel got the pass for Rodwell. Curry again, the experience. And it's a Brisbane ball with Gene Miles. That should be the cup final.
Here it is, the Panasonic Cup, and at the moment it's got Brisbane's name on it. They hold a lead of 22 points to 20 inside the last 20 seconds.
Well, they said, could the underdogs do it?
That's it.
They gave it their best shot. A tremendous performance by the Illawarra Steelers. It's been an absolutely magnificent cup final. The boost for the Brisbane Brisbane players from the unbelievable support from the Steel City. But I can tell you that these players will go back to Wollongong tonight as proud as they can be. Sure, they'll be disappointed. Wally Lewis and the Broncos are elated. They know they were taken to the wire. It's been a tremendous performance. I wonder the thoughts of Ron Hilditch. The bottom side of the Winfield Cup, it's really the Prince and the Pauper, the David and Goliath, as they built it all week, but they're getting a mighty responsibility from a very loyal band of supporters who have come to see the Steelers play, and didn't they play well?
Well, they deserve every bit of the plaudits they get. It took a champion side by the same token to try to hold them out for as much as they did, because they really did put it on. You cannot take one thing away from Illawarra. An outstanding performance tonight. They've risen to the occasion. They've done it well and given the Broncos one of the biggest frights they'll have had. Although when we go back, the two matches they've had earlier this season have both been very close.
Joey Kilroy and Cavalier, two old Brisbane teammates, and there's Kerrod Walters. He'll remember this night. It's his first year in the Winfield Cup as a regular player. Wally Lewis, as he did in 1984, is about to receive the trophy. of the Panasonic Cup trophy. He led combined Brisbane against Eastern Suburbs. That was a tough one for victory, David. No different at 89.
No tougher than this one tonight, Fordo, you're right. And they also pick up $175,000. John Rebo there, the general manager of the Brisbane Broncos, will certainly value that sort of brass.
Final score 22-20. Wally Lewis about to receive the trophy for 1989 after an absorbing battle, a tough battle. Well, Wally Lewis about to receive the National Panasonic Trophy. Let's go now to our Master of Ceremonies, Graham Hughes and Ian Maurice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Brisbane Broncos, a truly great football team. Would you congratulate them on winning the 1989 Panasonic Cup? Lewis leading his great side. And Mr. Ken Arthurson is there to congratulate the players. 1989 Panasonic Cup champions, the Brisbane Broncos.
Winners can smile, says Wally Lewis. Gregory, of course, an outstanding performance from the Steelers to come back in this cup final of 89.
I'm sure you'll agree, ladies and gentlemen, this has been one of the all-time great Panasonic Cup finals. The Illawarra Steelers can feel justly proud of their efforts tonight. To come back from 16-0 was a marvellous achievement.
So many good performances tonight. When we look through both of the sides, there have been absolutely outstanding displays from a number of players on both sides.
Everyone has said it's a great performance from Illawarra, but I do believe this is the moment for the Broncos, and it should be their moment only. But anyway, there it is. They're quite happy about it. They've got the 175 grand in the kick, and they'll be celebrating. And I think if you hear an answered jet come over about 10 to 12, you'll hear the noise coming out of it.
It's been a fabulous performance all over from both these sides. You've got to feel for Illawarra, but you've also got to give credit to this team. They had the lead, they hung on to it, and that is the sign of a champion side. Over the last few weeks, we've copped a bit of a serve in Rugby League Week and other issues about being biased, but after hearing that other little thing coming over a moment ago, you would not have thought that the Brisbane Broncos have won the cup final for 1989. Wally Lewis summed it up. Amidst all the booing, he had the smile. They've won the ball game.
Congratulations also to Wayne Bennett. He prepared this side under great duress because they've had a hell of a program over the last few weeks. They were the ones who had to play their semi-final last week in Bathurst. They had to go to Parkes to beat Canberra. They had to go to Townsville to beat Parramatta, and then they've come out against Bathurst. So Wally Lewis, great effort.